The Golden State Warriors' biggest rival right now, they are said to be on the verge of acquiring not on the verge, but they're in there. They're sniffing around. Morant and Durant, you a little worried, Warrior fans? Whew.
I wouldn't be worried until I see the full picture of what that kind of deal would be. Like, you got to tell me who the Grizzlies are giving up, because I think the other part of this is
they got 5 first-round picks.
They don't want to give up. They don't want to give up Jaren Jackson Jr. or Desmond Bane.
I'd give up one of those guys.
You'd have to.
Of course you would.
The way I look at it, you might have to give up both.
I don't know about that. I mean, I'm not saying you might have to. I'm saying I don't know.
You don't know if you would.
That might be too much.
Here's the other thing I was thinking.
Grizzlies were better than the Warriors last year, JD. They had a better record. They won 56 games.
Regular season. I was like, where are you going with that? Yeah, regular season.
No, I just mean better in the regular season.
Right. The other part for me is, okay, Morant and Durant, like, defensively, is that going to be good enough if you're taking some of the other players maybe away? Because there are going to have to still be ancillary pieces that go, even if it's one of the two between Bane and Jaren Jackson Jr. So, yeah, that's terrific in terms of just, all right, that's a 1-2 punch, but is the rest of the team going to be good enough? And is Durant now in a position where there's just enough slippage in his game on both ends,
right,
to where the Warriors can now manage it with the defense and manage it with trying to, kind of like they used to do with Westbrook and Durant, like make Morant be the volume shooter. And all right, he's going to score a lot, but he's going to shoot a lot, and he's going to want to try to take the game over. Like, there would be something, I think, missing still from the Grizzlies. Even I get why they'd want to do it, but there'd be something, I think, missing even if they were able to do it.
I'm looking at their roster. Jaren Jackson Jr. They got Danny Green, huh?
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Danny Green, Morant, Zaire Williams.
Good player. Okay. Against the Warriors, at least he was in that series.
Xavier Tillman.
Yeah, he's not really.
That's 5. Bane is 6. Steven Adams, 7.
Yeah.
Brooks, 8. Brandon Clark, 9.
Yep. Yeah, you'd still have Brooks. Yeah, but would Brooks have...
No, you're right.
Brooks and Clark would maybe have to be... Like, if Bane's not... To me, you're looking at Jaren Jackson, Bane, Brooks, Clark. I think of those 4, you're probably giving up 2 of those 4.
I would think 2 guys at least.
Maybe even 3 if you're not giving up Bane and Jackson. I remember Jackson's hurt until, I think, December or January.
Right. I mean, to me, Steven Adams would be somebody who they'd probably...
Well, you'd be willing to part with.
Yes. I'm looking at their contracts because obviously... Steven Adams has one more year at $18 million, so they have Tyus Jones too. Tyus Jones making $15 million.
Yeah, didn't they just re-sign him to that too?
That's a guy I forgot to mention.
They have enough they have good players.
They do
enough good players to where I think they could make that deal and still make it worth it. But they've said it sounds like they'd love to give up Clark and Brooks
Sure. And John
Adams,
Conchar.
And Adams and
Conchar.
I mean, it sounds like they want Morant and Bane and Durant and Jaren Jackson Jr., and then you'll figure out the 5, and you still got Tyus Jones off the bench. And
somebody saying Clark and Bane for him, but that's not going to be enough. Clark's only making 4. Bane makes not enough, $2 million. So that's one thing.
But you were saying something last week, and we talked about it a little bit. And I mean, what do you think the fit would be as far as, like, does Durant go to that team and supplant Ja Morant? Or is it still Morant's team? And then does that get weird? And I know you had the strong take about how Durant, with all the antics and the Twitter and everything else, like, he can't be your one. Would he not be with Memphis? And would that even be a problem that he isn't?
It's a great question. Because
things always get weird with Kevin Durant. We know that now.
Right. But in fairness, like, he first of all, let me explain how it all started. Just coming back from vacation 2 or 3 weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago, seeing Durant was on Twitter again, going back and forth with fans, just taking up for his own cause. And I'm like, you know what? I'm starting to think that he, like, all this stuff that he does define him as a person. And maybe he can't be your best player. Maybe you need your leader to be more detached from that kind of crap. So
you need him to be more like Steph Curry.
Exactly.
Damn it.
But in fairness, JD, there were a lot of people that said KD was the best player on those Warrior teams with Steph Curry, that during those 2 years, that Durant was the best player in the NBA. Forget about that for now. My feeling is, I don't know if he'd be 1 or 2, but with a player like Ja Morant, like with a player like Steph Curry, whether he's 1 or 1A or 2, that's the other guy's good enough that, yes, you can be a 1, if you know what I mean. Like, Durant might have been a 1 with the Warriors. I don't know. But even if he was a 2, Ja Morant is good enough that Durant could be a 2 and they could still win it because Morant's that good. Did you follow?
I followed.
Okay.
Here was I was thinking about, I was following along, but I was also thinking, you know what? If Durant ends up with Memphis, it makes me wonder if the league, like, what was, because the Warriors got Memphis for that Christmas game.
Oh.
And that felt a little out of place to me. It really did.
Man, interesting.
Like, did they know that maybe that was coming? I just
maybe I'm underestimating the greatness of Durant and Morant.
Well,
I don't know if that scares me. If I'm the Warriors,
it feels like not quite enough still in a way.
I know it does.
But yet we're talking about the Grizzlies still having a lot of the same guys that they had last year, so that might be a little foolhardy.
Right. That's kind of
like, come
that's
on.
That's kind of what I think.
Like Durant, but it got so weird with Brooklyn that it just, like, I feel like my opinion of Kevin Durant's game has changed because of everything that went on there, and now the ultimate teardown, pending teardown.
It's one of those things where, man, you drop Durant on the Grizzlies, whew, they're unreal. But then you start, you got to take off Jaren Jackson Jr. and you got to take off Bane. Now you're like, okay, so who? I know they're deep, but who are they left with?
Yeah, they're different.
Right, they're very different.
You don't need Kyle Anderson anymore.
Where did he go? Philly?
Minnesota. I'll believe it when I see it.
The Grizzlies apparently are the new team that is available and interested in a trade for Kevin Durant.